guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you're here. This is the third time I've sat down to film this because the first time I realized my backdrop was funkies, and then I realized I didn't have my makeup wipes, so I feel out of breath, but I have to film during daylight, so we're gonna press on. Okay, so we have a lot of palettes to get through, and we're just gonna go through them as quickly as possible. Oh, I should tell you what this video is about, huh? So over the summer, I have been experimenting with a lot of different palettes. I basically wore almost a palette a day. So I've gone through 61 palettes. The first 30 are going to be up above. I already have that one up, and then this will be the conclusion, and then we'll see what happens. I have about a week and a half before I have to be in front of students, so I have some more time to experiment, but I'm not going to be including, like, I'm just going to be using what I already have out. So I probably will be reusing some of these. Before I start, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Liking a video really does help out creators of all sizes. It really tells YouTube that you enjoyed the video and gets more eyes on it. So I would really appreciate a like. Also, I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'm very close. If you if you liked it, let me know. Let me know if you've tried any of these palettes. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on the palettes. Let me know if you would have kept some of the ones that I'm going to declutter. Let me know if you would have decluttered some of the ones that I kept. Let me know all the details down below. Anyway, we're going to start with my most expensive palette that I got for an amazing deal. It is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Divine Rose 2. Now this retails for normally $125, but they were doing a sale and it was like $90, and then they had this glitch where it was half price of that sale price. So I got this for about 40 something dollars, which is amazing, and I'm so excited. It is very beautiful. This one is kind of has a shift to it. I don't know if it will show up on camera very well. There you can kind of see like it looks green and then not. I haven't used that one yet, but I did do a look with it, and this is probably what I'm going to be playing with for the next week or so because it's just fun. So I actually went with a pretty neutral look on my time with it. The shimmers are so soft, so very soft. The matte that I swatched right there, it is so soft too. Ignore this stain here because that's from the shadows that I have on my eye right now, so it's gonna be fun trying to get off at the end of the day. But yes, this one is beautiful. Is it worth $125? No. If you can get it for, you know, 80 or less, I would get it. That's where I got my other palette. There was it was at TJ Maxx, and it was like $80, and I ordered it online for that, and I'm glad I got it for that, but I would never pay $125 for her palettes because while I like them, and this one I think is probably the best that I've tried, they're too expensive. So this was actually a really great opportunity for me to take out some palettes that I don't wear too often. This is the Pure, this was like their 16th anniversary or 16th birthday palette. They had blushes in there and a highlight. On the other side, yes, it has drawers. It's huge. It had like a liner and maybe a lipstick and eyelashes. Have not touched those eyelashes. But the palette itself is kind of cute. It's laid out. It says 16 on it. This line is mostly chunky glitters. This one is not a glitter, this one at the bottom, but the rest of them are. So beware of that. Not that you could probably find this palette anywhere. And this is very similar to another palette that I have. It's actually going to be coming up in a 4for4 this fall. And this palette is just okay. As you can see, there's a lot of fallout with that matte. Lots of fallout. They go on pretty well. It's a nice formula. It's not like an in-your-face formula. Is it as good as Pat McGrath? No. Is it decent? Yes. Am I keeping it? Yes. It's not one of those that I'm going to declutter. There are a few in here that I'm going to declutter. I decluttered like a fifth of the palettes last time, which I was very impressed with myself. So we'll see what I end up decluttering. But for now, I want to play with this one some more in the coming years. So yes, and I'm going to keep it for years because that's who I am. Let's talk about one that I am going to declutter. This is the glitter palette from Too Faced. This one, this was the first time I used it, and I actually ended up using it 3 times because I had one of the glitter glue samples from Too Faced, and I wanted to use it up, you know, on subsequent days. So I used it for each one of those. I don't know if it really helped that much. I was not, like, I kind of liked what these looked like, but they weren't, like, outstanding, and I feel like the glitter glue didn't help really that much, and I definitely had to supplement with other things, but, like, the shimmers are just okay. They didn't really perform any better with a glitter glue or trying to pack them on the lid. I like the glitters that I have in the Pure and the Pat McGrath so much more. So this one I am decluttering. I don't feel like, I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting concept, but it's just, it's not a concept for me. That's the bottom line of it. It's okay. The colors are kind of there. They're pretty, but just not for me. Normally I'd save the palette that I am wearing on my eyes till the end, but it's the next one in the pile, so we're going to talk about it. This is the Spanglish palette from Alamar, and I am wearing several of the shades on my lids today. So I have 3 of the shimmers. I have Tiene Swing, Guau, and Aries un Show. Yeah. And then I also have Quite Cute, right, this one right here. So we'll swatch a couple of the other ones. This is the one that is stained on my hand. You can't see it now. I kind of covered it up, but that one did stain. And we'll do, oh, this one is way scratchier than the light pink one that I had. And these definitely have some fallout. Lots of fallout from those, but that pink has a major punch. It has some nice qualities to it. I will wear it again. I don't know, like, if I will go this dark with my eyeshadow. So I don't know if you can see. So I have, like, the light pink in the crease and up, red, purple, and then, like, the lilac. That's what I was trying to go with that one for that one. But, wow, got some other looks that I can definitely do, too. All right, we have the Ciate London Editor Palette. This came in a Boxycharm or Ipsy. It was definitely not one that I went out and purchased. It's a little dark. It was one that I was a little trepidatious about using, and I put it off, but it actually turned out pretty good. The matte in here is very soft. The shimmers are actually fairly decent. They're not my favorite shimmers, but they worked pretty well, and it actually worked better than I was expecting it to. So I am going to keep it. I'm going to play with it some more. Like, there's some nice colors in there. This would be a good, like, fall, spring work type palette, but you do have some fun pops in there as well. So actually a pretty decent palette. Better than some of the other Ciate London quality that I've had in the past. I think I have one that will be coming up in a 4 for 4. So here's me crazy. I have planned out all of my palettes for the fall, and I've planned out like half of the ones for the spring. So it's in one of those 2 piles, but yeah, you're going to see a different Ciate that isn't as good, and we're going to see if it stays. This palette is so good. Mel Thompson recommended this one, and I finally caved and got it because this is an expensive palette. This is Enduring Love by Sydney Grace. They're an indie. It went in and out a lot, so that was part of the reason why it took a while to get. But this is what it looks like. They have a light version and a dark version. They've changed the packaging on it too, I've heard, but I don't know what the new packaging is. This is the only thing I own from Sydney Grace. Anyway, I love that they're all kind of based on romantic figures, even though some of them are not that romantic. So we have Romeo and Juliet, Darcy and Elizabeth. Those are my favorites, of course. Then we have Albert and Victoria, Boaz and Ruth, John and Abigail, and Robert and Deanna. So let me swatch. We're going to swatch Darcy because Darcy is like my favorite shade. Even though if it wasn't named Darcy, it's still like my favorite shade. I haven't done a lot of the other ones. I've used like the top row for the most part. Let's do Victoria as another matte, and then we're going to do John and Abigail too, because I figure we need 2 shimmers. I mean, look at that shimmer. I have used this shimmer before. I haven't used the other one, but oh my gosh, Victoria is beautiful. There's such like soft mattes in there, just really, really nice. Definitely recommend this one. I think this is an excellent palette. I'm very happy that I have it. It's a good investment, and it's one that I just really enjoy using. if you can get it, get it. Okay, next up I have the Cinderella palette from Sigma. I got this one because it was so beautiful. I love Disney. I love Cinderella. I collect stuff like this, which is silly. The brush is in there. I'm going to take it out so it doesn't fall out. So this is what it looks like, and I struggled to do this because if you can see, I put like a little bit there. I was really trying to not mess up the impressions that they put in there because they are so pretty. I'm going to try to turn it this way so you can see the impressions a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, they're just so cute, and I didn't want to mess up any of the impressions, so that's why I went with a little bit there and a little bit there. So this is a palette that if I really wanted to use it, I would want as backup of it. I didn't find that this performed the best though, and I don't know what it was about it, why it didn't perform super great. But like, it's just very light. That purple doesn't want to pick up at all. We're going to do a little of the navy here. Almost got my nail caught in it because it's flipped open. The glitters are just okay on this. They're a little bit more fallout with that blue, but as you can see, like the purple is just, it's so pale and lackluster. Not a fan of it whatsoever. So this is one that's just going to be going in that display, but it's not one I would recommend. Even though I'm keeping it because it's pretty and it's part of it's like a collector's piece more so than it's a palette to wear. Next up we have the Boxycharm and Pure palette. Obviously I got this in Boxycharm. I do kind of like the colors in here. There's a lot of peaches, and I do really like peachy shades, and this is one that I can wear to work. The quality is not that great though. I think the other palette, the Sweet 16 palette, has better quality shadows in it. These are just okay. They are very crumbly. Part of that could be age on this particular one. They're just okay. I don't think it was the greatest palette. I don't think that they did the same quality that they did with other palettes. I feel like they just kind of cheaped out a little bit because it was for Boxycharm and it wasn't like one that they were going to be selling in retail stores. So this one's undecided. We're gonna come back, revisit this one in a minute. I love that pink, that peachy pink in the middle though. Like, even though it's chunky, you know what? We're decluttering this one. We are decluttering this one because I need to declutter something. So we're decluttering this one, even though it kind of hurts. Just a little bit. Next up we have Lorac. This is the Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette. And these have the weird openings where it's like bendy that way. I don't know why they did it that way, but kind of an interesting color scheme. You have a couple darks, you have some lights in here. It's very muted, but like kind of cool, but there's a couple pops of warm in there too at the same time. It's an interesting palette. I used this one yesterday, and it was a very muted type of a look. It was not like in your face. It lasted well though. Like, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. It's a little almost smoky type of shades. That's what it looks like. The shimmer isn't like super in your face, but the mattes are just really soft and really pretty. I really like this formula of Lorac. The mattes are especially my favorites in this one. So I'm not going to declutter this one. It might down the road get decluttered, but I just really like the matte. So it's staying because I love the mattes. Next up we have Ipsy and Tetris. Obviously I got this in my Ipsy Plus, and this stuff was overpriced. So this packaging, the slipcover, way cuter than the actual palette. So that's what the shades look like. It's kind of an odd color story, just odd choices. I kind of like the mustard. I feel like you need to like double dip in that one though, because it's just a little hard to pick up. And then this is my favorite shade, the Block Party, the light shimmer. So has some interesting shades. I kind of like it. It's not a love for me. So I'm not a Tetris fan. I like the two shimmers in the middle are my favorite, and I kind of like the yellow, but I'm never going to use the blue. I don't like this shade. This is kind of a weird shimmer. I think I'm going to declutter it. I did not think I was going to do that. I'm also like looking through my brushes, and I think I'm going to declutter one of the Tetris brushes, which I especially purchased because I was wanting the collection. So that one is, I'm going to declutter it. I can't believe it, but I'm decluttering it. We have from Alamar Cosmetics, this is, what is this one? This is the Reina del Caribe. Some similar shades in there. We have like a navy, but this one's a shimmer. This one's just a little different. It's not like that true mustard type shade. And then it's this one's similar to that shimmer that I don't like, but I like this one just a little bit more. Those shimmers are absolutely stunning. Those are really shimmers that I will wear. There's some interesting colors in here, some colors that I don't like as much, like mainly the blues. I'm not a blue person. So yeah, this one is going to be staying because those two shimmers sealed the deal for this one. But yes, good palette. Have been interested to try more from Alamar. I know they did an Encanto collection, and I did not get. I got one blush from it, but that's it. But I'd be interested to see their palette from it. There we go. Those are the words. Colourpop. There are so many Colourpops in this. I need to. Maybe we'll just do, this will be the Colourpop section. So we have Garden Variety. I picked this one up kind of on a whim. I was trying to do something buy online, pick up in store. I was trying to get like a gift or a sale, something. Anyway, I threw this one on because it was super cheap, which is always a good reason to purchase, right? Those are very, very lackluster. They are definitely more of a topper shade. They don't really pack much of a punch. This one in particular, like, whew, nothing really there. I'm going to hold off judgment on this one until I swatch the other Colourpops because I kind of want to think about it. I kind of like that has some colors, and especially in the mattes that I like. So maybe I'll keep it. Let's see what else I got. Okay, next up we have Mar. Was this the Bretman Rocks collaboration? Like I've seen him, but I don't know anything. So there are some pretty colors in here. This was, when did I get this? I feel like I won this in a giveaway from someone. I don't feel like this is something that I would have normally like purchased. I did not really use the blues in the look that I did with this palette because we just heard my rant about blues. They're okay. There's, if I wanted to be a Denver Bronco fan, I could with those. But I'm going to declutter this one. I don't love it. I don't feel inspired when I see it. I look at it and I'm like, it's not for me. So this one's going. Originally, I had most of my Colourpops. I was going to do like a drugstore video. But then I decided, no, I'm just going to throw them in and talk about it. I still have like Revlon and all of the actual drugstore that I need to do a video on someday. We have Birds of Paradise. This one it's very warm toned. It is very peachy orange type shade. There are no glitters in here, which I'm very happy about because I am not a fan of actual, chunky glitters. Just a solid palette. Maybe not the color story for everybody, but those shades are nice. So yeah, this one is definitely staying in my collection. And then we have its companion palette. This is Lovebird. Love the colors in this one, but those three in the middle, those are all chunky glitters. So right there, a third of this palette I will never use because it's just too much. We have a glittery matte, so like the matte with the glitter in it, and then we have just some pretty regular mattes and shimmers. They're gorgeous. This is a very specific look for a very specific time, but I do like this palette a lot, so it is definitely staying. It was one that I knew was going to be safe no matter what. But yes, Lovebird and Bird of Paradise, both pretty good. I think Bird of Paradise is probably the stronger palette just because it doesn't have the glitters in it. But if you like glitters, this one is perfect. She's got Solstice. This palette is very pretty. Once again, no glitters. Got some green tones in there. Got some neutral browns. Got this really pretty like shimmer in the middle. Very like it calls out to you. Then you have this like flaky gold. It's such a weird shade. And we're gonna swatch this green too, because this palette just needs to have more swatches. So the gold does have some fallout to it. It looks really funky in the pan, but it's still working well. It's just kind of like, it's like when you vacuum your carpet, and if you vacuum one way, one direction, it looks weird, and then the other way it doesn't. That's kind of like the same with this eyeshadow. It's odd in that way. So I actually really like this one. You have to be careful with the shimmers because they are a little bit chunky. So I do put them on usually with the finger and kind of work them in before to make them look good, because otherwise they'll look kind of chunky on your eyelids. But I like this color scheme quite a bit. It is one that is staying as well. I had fun with it. I wore this one in June. I went to a concert and I was like, I just felt really pretty. I really liked it. Next Colourpop is Cute AF. It's the Yes Please palette. I don't know why it's called something different than what it has on the front. I've had this palette for the longest time. It is kind of a dupe-ish of Natasha Denona's Sunset palette. I wore this palette and my cousin's little girl was like, I like your eyes, which I thought was so cute, because I had the yellow on there, I had the red on there. This palette, I mean, you can do some very neutral looks in here, but it's a great palette. It's definitely staying. I can tell you that before I even do my swatches. It's one that if it started to turn, I would purchase another one. It was only like $16. I don't think it's sold anymore actually, which I think is a shame, because look at, it's a good palette. It's a really nice palette. Yeah. Probably one of the best ones, one of the earliest Colourpop palettes too, and it's still so good. Last one is the Sweet Talk palette. You have two glitters in here. You have this one and this one, which is a bummer. It is very warm, very peachy, has some nice browns in there, which I have not touched looking at this, which is probably not the best thing. Very pretty. I didn't love the look I came up with this palette. I'm going to say that right away. I wasn't a big fan of the palette, the look I came up with. But looking at this, I'm like, okay, I need to use that brown on the bottom. Like, this looks like a really good shade. I could see that working with like some of the, I want to work with this one some more. So that means we're coming back to Garden Variety. I want to look at this one again. We're going to swatch a couple more because this is my decision-making time. You know what? I am going to declutter Garden Variety, and I'm going to keep Sweet Talk. Those are okay swatches. They're not calling to me. Like, I'm not looking at them, and I wasn't so excited when I wore it that I loved it. So Garden Variety is leaving. All right, we got a giant one. This is the Lime Crime Venus XL 2, because they did another one, and this is the more muted. This is the more greenish tone, but there's not like a ton of greens in here. There's a couple greens in here, which are, you know, kind of pretty, but to me, it's more about the peaches, and not the peaches, but you know, the pinky, mauvey, taupey tones. Lots of fallout. Definitely need to play with this one some more. I'm like, there's a couple over here that look really pretty. This one, Crown and Thorn. Want to try those on some more. So, yes, it's not leaving my collection. I think this is the first time I had worn it. So, definitely need some more time with it, because look at those. Those are very pretty colors. And just looking at the green next to the green with Colourpop, I made the right choice about the Garden Variety. Next up, we have the Moondust from Urban Decay. I have several Urban Decay palettes. I used to just buy them whenever I found them on sale, and I have stopped that, thankfully. I like a lot of the old school Urban Decay, but I haven't been as big of a fan of stuff like this. And so I'm glad that I finally kind of stopped being sucked into it. This palette is kind of interesting. It's reminds me of the same type of formula as the glitters from Too Faced, but the problem with this one is I just don't like the formula. So, and I know it's the way that it's made. I don't even know if a glitter glue would help that as much. I just don't like the way they go on. and I don't like the way they look. So I don't think it's bad. I think that there are specific people who like this type of formula. It's just not for me. So Moondust is being decluttered. This is kind of crazy. Next up we have Violet Voss. This is Olive You Forever. This is another kind of green and mauve-y tones, I guess. And I wore this one to a concert. I think I wore this one to Riverdance, and I was like, oh yeah, I was really feeling the look and really enjoyed this one. I do like Violet Voss's formula though. The mattes are very soft. The shimmers have enough of a punch that I really enjoy them. So Olive You Forever is definitely staying. I mean, look at those shimmers. Very, very nice. So yeah, this is a good one. I have another one of this. I have the companion that's like the pink one. That's going to be in a 4 for 4. So we have from Ace Beaute. This is the Grandiose palette. This is one that I have put off wearing for the longest time. This came in a Boxycharm, obviously, because this is not one that I normally would buy. The Olive You Forever was like a Boxycharm palette, but I believe I spent like $9 on it and got it in the Charms room. Not the Charms room, but you know, the add-ons or whatever it's called. There is what the swatches look like. They're a little patchy on the mattes. The shimmer was fine. I was surprised by this palette. It actually turned out pretty good. It didn't look bad on the eyes by any means. It lasted well. Obviously, I've had it and I've just never reached for it, and I always look at it, I'm like, oh, I need to use that. So this is kind of like I'm forcing myself to wear it, and why? So I'm going to declutter this one because it's not one that really excites me or one that I want to wear. So I'm getting rid of it. Okay, we have Too Faced. This is the Totally Cute palette. You can decorate this. It came with stickers. That's what it looks like. So you have weird color mix in here. You have 2 large shimmers, 1 large matte, and then you have like 4 colorful shimmers and 2 matte that are like, you know, neutral shades. There are some pretty shades in here. This one is staying for me for now. It was okay. It's not one that I really reach for, but one, I kind of have a collection of these going, which is a terrible reason. And 2, I do like that green and the pink. They're fun colors. So for now it's staying. We'll see if I put it in a 4 for 4 if it will stay though, because it's not the best. Like, obviously it's not the best. Here I've been going on and my camera wasn't even recording. So next up is one of my favorite palettes. This is the Tarte Be a Mermaid and Make Waves palette. I had to look at what it was called. I really loved this palette. I was very heartbroken when it got dropped, and this one has been damaged and a whole bunch of them popped out. I was able to put them back in. My mom did buy me a backup of this one though, because I loved it so much, and when it fell out all over the place, she felt crushed for me, and they did eventually bring it back. It took a while, but did get a backup of it. I love this palette. I know it looks boring. It has just some beautiful shades in there. I already swatched them because I was talking to nobody, even more so than normal. So this is what it looks like. They're just really good shades, just everyday shades. They make you feel pretty. It's just a pretty piece, not too over the top. It isn't thin, that's for sure, but it looks pretty and it performs pretty, and I really like it. It's one of my favorite palettes, definitely my favorite Tarte palette. We have another Tarte palette. This is the Make Believe in Yourself palette. This one is mostly shimmers, just a crazy amount of shimmers, and you got a highlighter in the middle and 1 lone matte, which is just like a perfect shade for me. I love the matte shade in here. This palette I actually do enjoy. It is not for everyone. It is, like I said, it has a lot of shimmers in it. That matte is very, very light. That's why I said it's like a great shade for me. I like it, and I will be sad when it eventually has to be gotten rid of. I'm seeing a little tiny crack in my highlighter, so I will continue using this and enjoying it until it is no good any longer or completely gone, whichever comes first. Final Tarte palette we're talking about today is this one. This is the High Tides and Good Vibes palette. I got it because the packaging was cool. It has the turtle on it. It does the bubbles, you know, it has liquid in there. It's just very different. in terms of packaging. Inside, very blue. Not my colors. And then you got like shimmer, like chunky glitters, lots of chunky glitters. You have one shade that I really like. You have a couple more that are okay shades. I'm not going to swatch all of these, don't worry. And then you have all these blues. The shimmers in here are quite the blue ones. They're very thick, if that makes any sense whatsoever. They are not my favorites. I do like the matte. So like, I like this shade. I like these shades. Well, I'm not a big fan of the dark brown, but like these 3 shades, there's like 4 shades that I like in this palette. Now, my dilemma is I really want to keep this for the packaging, and I guess I could just put this in my cabinet where I have just fun makeup, because it's not one that I want to reach for ever. I think it's going to go the way of my Sigma Cinderella palette, that it's just okay, but it's not one that I enjoy or that I want to use. So yeah, don't get this one. This one, the other 2 are okay. This one, no, I don't think this is a good one. All right, we have Eloise Cosmetics. This is the Queen. A Queen lies in all of us. This came in Boxycharm, which is kind of a common theme with a lot of these shadows. There are a lot of shadows in here. There's some purples. You got a lot of like warm tones. You got some pinks in there. I did wear this one, and I'm trying to remember what I even thought of this one, because you know, when you wear 60 some shadows, it gets a little hard to remember sometimes. This palette is kind of all over the place. The mattes are just okay. They don't swatch super great. The shimmers are better, but they're not the best. So this isn't a palette that I would say like run out and get, or that I would really recommend. I'm going to keep it and use it some more because that was the first time I had used it. And I do want to experiment with some more of the colors, but I don't think it's a great palette. Definitely reason why it was in Boxycharm, I feel like. Sometimes you get really good stuff, and then sometimes you get stuff that's just kind of mediocre. And I feel like that's where this one falls. We are getting really close to the end. We have a Nars palette. This is the Afterglow palette. Very pretty. I will say I love Nars formula. I love their palettes. They're just like pretty solid. You get some interesting textures in there. You just get, I feel like, a really wearable palette, which is not always the case. And I'm going to see if you can tell the difference in the 2 shimmers formulas that they have in here. Because the one is definitely more of an impact. I apologize for the weird shadows that are going on now. Yeah, it's really pretty. This is definitely one I would recommend. This packaging, like, I've been happy with all of the ones that I have in that packaging. So yes, I think it's good. We are down to our last 3. They are all neon palettes from Huda Beauty. They are very interesting. I think that the shade names are kind of funny. So this is like the neon pink. Of course, it doesn't even say. One is like pink, one's orange. And I feel like this one is more of a neon purple. And this one is more of a neon pink, like, because the look I got from this was very pinkish. And then you have the neon green, which does not have very much green in it at all, which was kind of funny. So we're going to start with the, you know, the neon green shade in there. And then we're going to swatch some of the shimmers. This one, I know I've been giving crap to different toppers throughout this video. This definitely has toppers in it. As you can see, they're very pretty. They look nice on the eye though. I didn't feel like the other ones packed the same punch. Like, this has that shimmer to it. It really does catch the light and look really beautiful. I didn't get that with the other toppers that I was kind of talking trash about earlier. So this is probably my least favorite of the 3, just because it's the hardest to come up with a look. You have the one green, but then it's like a whole bunch of shimmers. So you definitely have to layer the shimmers. And as you can tell, like, those bottom 2 shimmers are pretty similar. They look kind of similar on the eye. So still keeping it, still like it, but it's the least of the 3. Okay, next up we have the neon orange, which I feel like is more pinkish because, you know, there is like an orange, but it's still like a peachy orange. And then you have like the actual yellow, and then you have like this green yellow in there. They're not really, having that yellow with the other one would have really like amped it up. I feel like I like this one, but like I said, the look that I got felt more pinkish than it felt orange. It's a good one. The shadows on this one, you definitely have to build them up and kind of blend them out just right. Because as you can see, like that orangey type shade is kind of patchy. It's doesn't go on perfectly even, so it's okay. Finally, I have the neon pink, and this gave me a purple look. Definitely a purple look with this one. There are some more pinks in here, but I just felt like the way that I was going with this stuff, it felt more like a pinky, like more of a purpley toned look than pink. So that's what they look like. I'm sorry that it's suddenly like dark. It's bright sunshine in front of me. It's just, I'm in the shade right now at the moment. And yeah, so I like this one. This is probably my favorite of them. I like them. They're staying in my collection. I'm not decluttering them. I probably wouldn't either anyway because they're Huda, because I just love Huda. But let's see. I had 31 palettes in this video. Let's see how many I'm decluttering. I'm decluttering 7. So I actually did one more than in my last one, which is pretty good. I feel good about that. I mean, I don't like decluttering. I really don't like decluttering. I definitely have a hoarding tendency, but I am getting rid of 7 palettes. I feel like that's a good start. Let me know if you think I should have kept any of the palettes. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.